you may not understand what I'm doing right now, but you will. And that's what I would say to everyone. You may not understand what I'm doing. And this gives a little bit, maybe we're like 20% there, but there's still going to be people, we leave this interview and they're like, I still don't like the way he apologized. I still don't want to say what my involvement would have been to make him lead him to that point. And we just want things to be how they are. There's people in the world who want the world to stay as it is. And there's people who want to change the world. And that's happened throughout time. They say that with Da Vinci, halfway into a conversation, he could not suffer fools so much that he would walk away halfway into the conversation. And I said, well, that's why it's the Da Vinci Code and not the Da Vinci world. And every time I go and piss off a group of people or do these things, on some end, I could be turning my thing from a potential world vision to a code, or I could be opening up conversations with new friends that I may trust someday.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful because the change you will have on the world that you don't know for sure, but it will happen across years, even decades. So you have to think in the future. Like you're working in the future. Your actions are working in the future. And a lot of people will judge this conversation and others you've done and so on in the present. And that doesn't matter.
You know why I apologize, why I say I'm sorry to the Jewish people that I hurt? It's not about, like I said, I'm not going to hold this apology hostage, right? It's obviously it's about God, but God is everything, right? So what's the point of even having language and being, you can't engineer if you say God, 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 right? Right? I'm going to go specific to a person. That story about Da Vinci alone is enough of a reason for me to give a sincere apology to the Jewish people, because I do believe that there's a Da Vinci Code inside of all of my misspellings and scribbles right here that God wants me to get to the world. And when I'm in my way, if God has set something on me, when I'm in my way, I'm in God's way. Now I can point at other people and say, hey, you guys are in God's way because you're not listening to me. But if I'm in my way, I'm not listening to God. And for me to be a philosopher and a leader, whatever other language, I have to listen to God. So before God, what I will do is start off as a samurai and say, I'm sorry for hurting you as a Jewish person. I'm sorry for the way that made you feel. And I'm sorry for the entire population of a race that I feel is actually my brothers, because I classify and feel that I'm also connected with Christ in that way, that my people came from Africa in that way. And I can't say it's this exact teaching or that exact teaching, but I feel that there's an important, the sons of Abraham, however we want to word it, right? For us to come together and bring our different talents together to serve God collectively. And he, as much of an alien as I am, he did not call for me to alienate. And that's what the problem has been, especially in politics and in America. He placed America as the TV, as the radio to the world. We invented rock and roll, right? We are the influencers of the rest of the planet. We're the youngest startup in history, right? We're the youngest superpower, right? They don't want me to be involved with language of divisive language, proving that I can be just as racist as a racist white person. Oh, I can be a racist black person also. That's not what God has called me to do. How do I simplify and say, hey, to you as a visionary, as an engineer, as a person that's given me a platform, that as my brother, I want to apologize to you for how that made you feel, and to the rest of the people that carry specifically that pain, not the pain that I talk about. That doesn't seem to be as much of a pain for people when I talk about the abortion clinics and stuff. That's the argued pain even in my own community. Like, not everyone thinks that's a pain. But for the Jewish community, it's collectively, this was a pain. And I've gone so far just psychologically on this journey since that statement had happened, where I didn't want to like give up the candy in my pocket. I didn't want to say, "Hey, I stuck my hand in the candy jar." I wanted to defend my freedom of speech. I wanted this. But even with freedom of speech, pain is pain. Causing people to hurt is not helping. Causing people to hurt is not helping. That means I have to take a more sophisticated approach to engineering this problem. This problem is an opportunity. And yes, that what could some people may deem as a mistake. Would it be more genuine if I called it a mistake? I think I would be hypocritical by calling it a mistake with the ending of the idea I'm going to say out loud. So I don't try to be a hypocrite on purpose, but I will call it a mistake to add a genuine, to be genuine about the feeling. With that mistake, with me as a human being, not to justify, but I have to state that God makes no mistakes, because if I hadn't made that mistake, I wouldn't be in front of you today. And that's not to justify this sleepy text.
But I can tell you're a man that has love in his heart, and I hear that. I hear it through the words, explicitly and implicitly. And I think if we were to engineer a better future, the way to do that is with love. So as one human to another, I love you, brother. Thank you for talking today. This is great.